already saving ourselves insurance money by not owning it. And honestly, the only time I was really using it on a day-to-day basis because of the shitty fuel economy was in the dead of winter. Like over this past winter, it was great. Now it had ice, like all-weather tires on it. So when it got down to close to 0 degrees or colder, it got down to negative 18 degrees Fahrenheit this winter. So when you get just a flat-out sheet of ice everywhere, the car would just slide. Like I literally pulled to the end of my street, turned left on, and I just rotated and slid right off the road. Well, not off the road, but into the little berm snowbank. So, yeah, all-wheel drive isn't always great unless you've got studded tires in the winter on ice. All weather means most weather, not all weather, or all season. Yeah, all season in California where you don't get fucking ice on the road. So anyway, with the right tires, that car is just amazing. In the rain, it does not slip, unless you're like ripping around a corner and giving gas. Launching from a light, you will pretty much smoke anybody from a light. So the guy who bought it in southern Ohio is going to be probably shit-faced with glee because that car is just hilarious to drive. It drives like it's on rails, and pretty much any STI is just Poontown. So good for him for getting the car for basically like 50% of what we paid under sticker. It was like, had 8,000 miles on it. We bought it for $6K off sticker. And honestly, drove it like crazy for the first few years we owned it, and then it gradually drove less and less as I went to grad school and moved out to California and could ride year-round. So it was a wise choice to sell it. But I'm definitely going to miss the power and the all-wheel drive. But we just honestly don't need that out here unless you're going off-road. So the BRZ will have to... I'll have to make do with a BRZ. Oh, I probably sound like a total asshole. But... I bought the BRZ because the STI went into the shop for a bad wheel bearing, and it took Pure back in Toledo like 2 months to fix a friggin' wheel bearing. They literally put our car on the back burner and didn't get around to it for basically 2 months, and we had to harass the shit out of them to get them to do the job. So I was sitting there without a car. My wife drove out, and it pisses rain in the East Coast. In Baltimore, they get some crazy fucking storms. There were times when I was riding home on the bike. I really should have motovlogged a lot more back there, because there were times coming home on the bike where I was riding through up to 6 inches of water on the back road that I would take to get to and from work. People on the freeways were psychos. People pretty much anywhere. You encounter lots of psychopaths that just pull out right in front of you and just look you straight in the face and have this look of not a single fuck will be given for you if you hit me. So on the upside, when I did run over that truck tire and pulled over, there was a really attractive woman that pulled over and checked to see how I was doing. The funny thing was, though, she kept her window rolled up, not knowing if I was some kind of like badass drug lord or I don't know. Sees a cruiser pull over on the side of the road dressed in all leather, still wearing his helmet, and I don't know, I was probably nervous, wanted to help, but...
You're the greatest, Fonzie.
So there are good people out in the East Coast, but holy shit, a lot of bad drivers. And the weather gets really nasty. We had tornadoes that ripped the roofs off of buildings. pretty much any time it rained, large sections of Baltimore would lose power. Even the nicest parts of Baltimore, like Towson, the college area, just kind of seriously screwed up. I mean, the same kind of thing happens out here in California, but they have the excuse that, hey, well, it almost never rains, so why insulate anything? You know, I'm sure their stuff is insulated, but it's really rather comical when you're in one of the wealthiest parts of the nation and a sudden rainstorm causes power to go out. It's like, come on, guys, really? Really? So, anyway, sold the STI, got the BRZ. The reason I picked the BRZ was because I had such a good experience with the STI. It was a really reliable car until that wheel bearing went out. And honestly, the only other thing that happened to it was the bolts on the clutch. I think the original owner wounded the hell out of the clutch, and it was my first time driving a high horsepower turbo manual like that. I've driven manuals in the past, but the STI had a very different power band. Like there was notable turbo lag at low RPMs, and it was just a weird clutch experience. So, of course, when I got the car, it kind of smelled of clutch, so that wasn't a good sign. I think the dude owned it for 8,000 miles after break-in and decided he wanted a, God, what was it? The Mazda RX-8, I think. Yeah, RX-8. I really don't like the way those cars look, but the RX-7's cool. Anyway, so we replaced the clutch at like 60,000 miles. It slowly went out, and we replaced it with an a street light flywheel and an Act street clutch. It was like one of the street organic clutches that'll handle up to, God, I want to say like 450 foot-pounds or horsepower. Which that car has like 300 stock at the crank, 300 horsepower, 300 foot-pounds of torque. So we put that clutch on it, and I think it was, man, what was, it wasn't Gretty. It was another one of those companies out here in Southern California that did the work. I guess I can't really say I was their manufacturer. It was like this little shop that they had that sold all kinds of parts and was listed in the yellow pages as being like Gretty or whatever company. Anyway, when they installed the clutch, they didn't bother to hang fucking emergency brake cable when they put it back together. And this is like a $1,600 job. Like, you gotta drop the exhaust, you gotta drop the drive shaft in order to reach all this shit and take the engine out. So it's a lot of labor to do all this stuff. So they didn't bother to hang the emergency brake, and so I go to like drive the car away, and as I shift into the gear, like first gear, the frickin' shifter is like vibrating like crazy, and I'm like, whoa, this is not normal. So I figured out, like, as I was like playing around with rolling forward, backward, emergency brake and all that, I figured out it was the emergency brake, and they went ahead and rehung it, and the thing had worn through to the cable. So that was a bunch of bullshit. And then later on, man, it was 2012 that this happened. Later on, the car starts making this rattling noise, almost like a valve is about to go, or a piston is knocking. And I'm like, what the hell is this? And it's gradually getting worse and worse as I drive home, and I'm trying to go easy on it. And I noticed that as I push in the clutch, it makes different noises. So finally, I get home, it's really loud. I'm like, oh Jesus, is my engine about to blow up? I'm thinking it's like turbo bearing going out or some shit. And I take the car into the shop that week. They do some inspection and stuff and find out, no, it's not the turbo. The engine actually looks like new when they drop the oil pan. And it's actually the clutch. The clutch has like 4 or 5 of the bolts backing off. One is almost completely backed off, about to fall out. And the others are like anywhere from 25 to 50%. So, it's just like, what the hell, guys? Did you not think to use Loctite or whatever the hell, like proper torque specs, when you tighten these damn bolts down? That does not happen. I mean, I don't dump the clutch when I take off from lights or anything. I'm pretty damn smooth with everything when I drive a manual. I launch fast, but not hard, I guess you could say. Yeah, I guess that guy was right. A bit faster. So I don't know that I want to go too quick. It's like 9:08. It's not very warm out. My butt's actually a little cool. So anyway, we picked up the BRZ. Let's slow down and let him catch up. Picked up the BRZ because it averages like 30 miles per gallon. And rear-wheel drive, lightweight. Never had a 2-door like that before. I've driven 2-doors before, but I've never owned one. It's just a really compact, gorgeous car. I mean, the shape of it is very sculptural, very artistic, beautiful design, and it's keyless, so when I'm done at work, I just fucking walk up to my car, grab the handle, it opens up. Don't have to screw with anything. When I get groceries, I just touch a little button under the trunk lid and it opens up. Never have to pull out my keys. It's fantastic, just like the Diavel. I think from here on out, I'm probably only going to buy vehicles that have keyless because they're honestly much more secure. They're harder to steal. Well, harder to, say, steal a Diavel and then actually get it to run without completely disassembling the thing. So, I don't get the feeling that people are really going to be going out of their way to try to steal this bike, because it would be a monumental pain in the ass to get it running. They would pretty much just have to part it out. Which at that point, you know what? I've got insurance to cover that, so whatever. But the BRZ has keyless everything, so like you walk up to it, the lights turn on, open the door, sit down, it has a starter button instead of like the ignition that you put a key into. So it's really, really cool. Phone syncs up with the head unit, and I don't know, at some point I'll probably do a bunch of videos to show all the cool little features. But anyway, I got like a really, really good deal on it too. It was a brand new car. Well, I don't know, it had like 80 miles on it. It's probably a dealer car that got hooked up with all of the little accessories, because it had a lot of things that I was not expecting to come on the Limited. upgraded version of the car. Comes with the fog lights, nicer interior. Giving the thumbs up to let people know I have not seen any cops.